Since we now know the basics of 4G environment, let's look at what are the main drivers for a 5G environment, right? So there are basically three main drivers for a 5G environment or three main use case for the 5G environment. The first one is known as EMBB, which stands for Enhanced Mobile Broadband. So the devices falls under this category are basically your cell phones, tablets, or laptops, where you basically stream the videos or upload some videos. So it's basically the internet that you use for your live streaming and all, which requires a larger bandwidth, right? So one of the use cases is the large bandwidth that you need for your streaming of videos or seeing a YouTube videos, these kind of things, where you use your cell phones, tablet, or laptops. The second use case or the second driver for a 5G environment is known as URLLC, which stand for ultra reliable low latency communication. So the devices fall under this category are basically your augmented reality or virtual reality devices that requires very low latency for a better user experience, right? So this is a second driver that you basically see in a 5G environment, and there is one more which is known as MMTC, which stand for massive machine type communication. So this basically allows the small devices to communicate to each other, right? For example, your smart cities, your smart street lights, the smart parking meters, which basically communicate with the other devices. So device to device communication is mainly one of the factor or the main driver for the MMTC use case. So depending upon these three use case, there will be network slicing in your 5G transport environment. So each use case or driver will get its own slice. So if you see the building blocks of a 5G environment, it again start with a UE, right, which stands for user equipment that contains a SIM card and a mobile phone, which will basically connects towards an G node B in a 5G environment. In a 4G environment, it was known as E node B. In a 5G environment, it is basically known as G node B, and we basically split this G node B into two, which is known as CU and DU. We'll talk about that in a later videos. And the 5G RAN is known as NG RAN, and this NG RAN basically will connect to what we call as your mobile core. And in a 5G environment, your mobile core is known as 5G core, right? In a 4G environment, it was known as EPC. And this in turn connects towards the external networks that can be a internet network, right? So now we will focus on the NG-RAN for the coming videos. Then we will talk about the 5G RAN. In the NG-RAN, there is a new transport network that has been introduced, which is known as mid-hole network, right? So we basically will cover the NG-RAN and the deployment type first. Then we will go to the 5G core.